I'd like to have my time now. All right. Perfect. I'll give it back to you. Thank you. All right, here's the deal. You took a test on Friday, correct? I graded those early Friday evening. I think I'd sent you an email probably by 5, 6 o'clock, something along those lines. Overall, I can't complain. Okay? They were good, but some of you just have self-inflicted wounds. When you're not completing your homework, and I called you out on it last week, you're not fooling anyone when you don't complete your homework. Okay, so I gave you 5 points and you didn't have it done. But when you score a high 70s or low 80s on your test, who's it really hurting? You. Okay, be realistic. Besides Friday, was it not Friday? The one, the 2425 online, that one was longer. The rest of those, you took like 1 or 2 problems home, agreed? Okay, so some of this is just pure practice. And I'm one of those teachers that I'm going to give you enough to practice, but I'm not going to give you enough to drown you. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I want you to practice. Now, the thing is, though, some of you need a few more problems to practice. And there's nothing wrong with this. That's the beauty of ALEKS. And a lot of times we do a lot on ALEKS or when I give you that review. But like on ALEKS homework assignments, if you get 100% and you click back into it, it doesn't erase your 100. It'll give you all new problems, but it won't give you 100. Or it won't take away your 100, I mean. So some of us are so apt to, and I just told my other class this, I get it. You can type it into Google. It'll tell you the answer. I get it. You can turn to your neighbor and say, how do I do this? And they say, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then when you get to your test, you have no clue what you're doing. So I reiterate back to you, and this is something you're going to hear me say all year, you're going to have to study for math, which is weird. We've never had to do that before. Okay? But that means the repetition of it. That means that you know I've done this many times. I'm confident. And I've told you from day one, it is more important to me that you know the process than you get the right answer. Okay? I know it's the end of the day, and you guys are squirrels by the time you get to me. But we have a lot of chatting that happens that can no longer happen because it's distracting you and it's distracting everybody else around you. And here's another challenge I put out there. Some of you are quick. You know what I mean by that? When I throw an answer or a question out there, you know right away what the answer is. But not everybody in here is. And that's okay. So if you notice that you're the same one answering over and over and over again, take a second to let everybody else respond. And those of you that are never responding, speak up. It goes both ways. Does that make sense? And that's my challenge to you guys. I'm going to see most of your parents tonight at conferences. We are packed from 3:30 to 9:30. We have parents constantly. Every single one of our slots got filled up. And I will tell you, there's nothing that I'm going to tell them that's going to surprise you. If I'm going to talk to you about chattiness, I'm probably going to tell your parents that. If I talk to you about homework completion, I'm going to tell your parents that. We talk about studying for tests, I'm going to tell your parents that. Overall, though, there's nothing crazy. Okay, I always say I'm an honest person, but I'm not going to make things up. Cool? Here's your outlay for the week. 2.6 online, 2.7 online, 2.8 online. You guys all know Mrs. Hoosier? You should thank her sometime this week because I wanted to give you a quiz on Thursday. She talked me out of it. She said, Miss Hoff, I don't think they need a quiz this week. I said, why not? It's super easy. She goes, I mean, come on. They've had a quiz basically every week. So you owe that to her. Okay? If I'm being honest, I feel like this almost should have gotten taught in the middle of chapter 2. I think it would have been helpful, but we're going to expand on proportions. And proportions is a huge part of 7th grade math. And you guys talked about it probably quite a bit even last year when you were taking 8th grade math. But proportions are huge. Proportions are set up as a ratio, a comparison of two numbers by division. And there's different ways you can write it. You can write it to x minus 6, or x to, I don't know where x minus 6 came into play. Oh, you have an extra one. Sorry. X to y, x colon y, or as a fraction, x divided by y. I would like you to mainly set these up ratios as a fraction. Okay? Now, two ratios being equal are proportions. So when you have a fraction equal to a fraction, you end up with a proportion. Rachel is building a fence around her garden. For every 2 feet of fencing, the cost is $14. Complete the table below showing the length of the fence and the cost. So they put the initial one in there. 2 feet of fencing, the cost is $14. So how much is 14 feet, or 4 feet of fencing? $28. How about 5 feet of fencing? How do you know that? Times, what times 7? Well, how'd you get 7? Okay, very good. And that's what I'm trying to get you to go. 2 feet is $14, which we really can simplify as 1 foot is $7. So that's why you took the 5 times 7K gives you 35. So if I spend $56, how many feet of fencing did I get? 8. And 9 feet of fencing would be $63. Almost so simple, you're like, well, I'm doing this wrong, right? I'm doing this wrong. Okay? Choose the correct description and fill in the blanks as necessary. A certain arcade game gives players tickets. The table below shows the number of tickets a player gets for the number of points. 14 tickets for 2 points, 21 tickets for 3 points, 63 tickets for 9 points. And we have to decide, each point does not always give the same number of tickets, or each point does give the same number of tickets. Does or does not? It does. How much per ticket? Or per point, sorry. 7 tickets per 1 point. How did you figure that out? You're right, but how did you figure that out? 14 divided by 2 is 7. 21 divided by 3 is 7. 63 divided by 9 is 7. Okay, so we would say, yes, it does. We would select the second one. So predict the number of tickets for 10 points. 70 tickets. B, a local store is selling fresh tuna. The table below shows the price for the amount of tuna. Is the price for each pound of tuna not always the same, or yes, always the same? How much is it? $4 per pound, right? 16 divided by 4 is 4. 32 divided by 8 is 4. 36 divided by 9 is 4. $40, how much tuna are you getting? 10 pounds. So that's just the idea of ratios. We're comparing two things. Okay? Then we're going to solve each proportion. Simplify your answer as much as possible. When you have a single fraction, nothing added or subtracted, equal to a single fraction, you are going to cross multiply. You guys have talked about the butterfly, yes? Now, you have to show me work, and this is so simple. Show me that you are taking x times 12 equals 9 times 4. Super simple, but I'm going to show you why it's so important in a minute. What is x times 12? 12x. And 9 times 4? 36. What would be my next step to solve for x? Divide by 12. X equals 3. Do the one on the right on your own. Show me that step. Show me that step.
Did you simplify it? Like change the 4 into a 1 and then the 12 into a 3?
I would not. And I'll show you why in a minute. I like your thought, but I'll show you why in a minute. P.S. Caden, thank you for that review. I just found that. Thank you. Did you get 9? Now, Caden asked a solid question back on this one. He said, you know, Ms. Hoff, I know that 4/12 simplifies to 1/3. And you're right. You can do that. But I said I would wait. Flip it over and I'll show you why. Because we're going to make our fractions more complex. Now we still have one fraction equal to one fraction, but inside that fraction we have an operator. And this is why I say don't simplify, because it gets more difficult to simplify. But rules don't change here. You're still going to use that butterfly idea to multiply. We're still going to take 6 times 2 and 9 times v minus 5. Do you see how parentheses are so important here, though? Make sure you put v minus 5 in parentheses, because what are you going to have to do on the right-hand side of this equation? Distribute. Very good. 6 times 2 is 12. Now distribute. 9 times v, 9v. 9 times negative 5, negative 45. My next step, add 45 to both sides. 12 plus 45, 57 equals 9v. Then divide by 9, which is nasty, isn't it? I don't think 57 divides by 9, Thatcher.
Do you always like multiply? You always put the denominator in the parentheses?
One of them has to be, so it doesn't matter. I always just put the second one that I write down, which tends to be the denominator.
Okay.
Yep. 57 divided by 9 is nasty. So 57 divided by 9, I just drag down anything that can go into both. 3 can go into 57? Oh yeah, because it's 27. Gotcha. I was thinking it was going into 7. I was like, no. 19 over 3. Is that what you said? Equals V. Do the one on the right, on your own. Thatcher asked a good question. Does it matter which one you put in parentheses? Do you always put the denominator? In this case, Thatcher, I'd put W-4 in parentheses. Mainly because you got to remember to distribute. Ten.
I actually got a double.
Yeah, because you minus 29.
Oh, you're right. I did mine. How'd you know I did?
Psychic. All right. Suppose 22 inches of wire costs 66 cents. At the same rate, how much, in cents, will 55 inches of wire cost? Take the first sentence they give you and set up a proportion. Or sorry, a ratio. So our ratio here would be 22 inches to 66 cents. Follow me? Then on the other side, we're going to create the proportion. Follow the same pattern. This time we have 55 inches of wire. Does 55 go on the top or the bottom? The top. Very good. Inches are on the top, so 55 needs to go on the top. So what goes on the bottom? X. And now we can cross multiply. I expect you to cross multiply. That is the main focus of today. We take 22 times X, 66 times 55. I'll take the easy one to get 22X. You guys multiply for me.
Wouldn't this one be a problem though? Here to simplify though.
I got it.
3630.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we divide by 22. What's my label? Cents. Cents. Don't waste your time simplifying. And I truthfully say in the middle, waste your time. Because if you make a mistake simplifying, then you're guaranteed to get it wrong. You see what I'm saying? Whereas if you just leave it as 22 over 66, you simplify at the end, you might only lose partial. Otherwise, I don't know where your numbers come from. Okay, do the next one on your own, but I expect to see this proportion set up. One of the blueprints of a house, sorry, that's supposed to say on the blueprints, not one. On the blueprints of a house, 44 millimeters represents 8 meters. The length of the living room is 33 millimeters on the blueprint. What is the actual length of the living room? toss it on the back counter. They'll come get it. Now, I'm going to guess most of you put 44 millimeters over 8 meters. So the other side would be 33 millimeters over X.
Would you still get the same answer if you had the 8 and 44 foot?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you. If you multiply 44 times X and then 8 times 33, you get 44X equals 264, and you divide by 44, X equals 6, label, meters. Okay, so the question's thrown out there, do you get the same thing? So if I put 8 meters over 44 millimeters, what's the other side of my fraction look like? X over 33, because the millimeters needs to be in the same location. And look, you end up multiplying the same numbers together. So it doesn't matter how you set your first side of your fraction up or your proportion up, as long as you follow in suit on the other side. Okay? You have to turn work in for all online. In front of the calculators, there's a whole bunch of papers that have just the boxes, so you can put each one. If you want your own paper, that's totally fine. 2-6 online is open for you to go. Hold on one second. I'm going to give you back your review. Your reviews are yours to keep. I'm also going to give you back your test. Look over your test. If you have any questions, please ask. I have to have your test back, though. So your review you get to keep. Your tests I need back. The rest of the hour is yours.